The rain-soaked evening draped the Hawthorne estate in a heavy silence, broken only by the sharp crack of Edward Hawthorne's voice. "What the hell are you doing in my bed?" His tall frame loomed in the doorway of the master bedroom, rainwater pooling at his feet, his face a mask of fury and disbelief. Maya Williams, the nanny, jolted upright on the mattress, her heart racing, not with guilt, but with shock. Beside her 5-year-old twins, Ethan and Eli, slept soundly, their small bodies curled against her, Ethan clutching a teddy bear, Ayla's thumb tucked in his mouth. "I can explain," Maya said softly, her hands raised in a gesture of calm. Careful not to wake the boys. They were scared. Eli was crying. Ethan had a nosebleed. Edward didn't let her finish. His hand swung, a sharp slap echoing through the room as it connected with her cheek. Maya stumbled back, gasping, her hand flying to her face. She didn't cry out, didn't speak, just stared at him, her eyes wide with stunned hurt. "I don't care what your excuse is," Edward growled. "You're fired. Get out of my house." Maya stood frozen for a moment, her breath uneven, then nodded. She glanced at the boys, still asleep, their faces peaceful for the first time in months. Leaning down, she kissed Eli's forehead, then Ethan's, and without a word, she grabbed her shoes and walked past Edward. He didn't stop her. He didn't apologize. Downstairs, Mrs. Keller, the housekeeper, turned as Maya descended, her eyes catching the red mark on Maya's cheek. She froze, but Maya said nothing, only pulled her coat tighter and stepped into the drizzling night, heading for the estate's gate. Back in the bedroom, Edward stood, his breath ragged. He looked at the twins, expecting the usual signs of distress, tossing, sweating, whispering in their sleep. But there was none. Ethan's brow was smooth. Eli's hand relaxed on the blanket. They were asleep, truly asleep, not sedated or exhausted, but at peace. His throat tightened. 14 nannies, countless therapists, and endless nights of screams and tears. And Maya, this quiet stranger, had done what none of them could. And he had struck her. He sank onto the edge of the bed, head in his hands, shame curling in his chest. On the nightstand, a folded note caught his eye. He opened it. "If you can't stay for them, at least don't push away the ones who will." No signature, just her handwriting, steady and sure. He read it again, then stared at his reflection in the mirror, a man hardened by loss, clinging to control, suffocating in silence. Mrs. Keller appeared in the doorway. "Sir," she said softly. She didn't touch anything. She only brought them here because Ethan had a nosebleed. They begged her to stay. Edward didn't respond, his eyes fixed on the note. "They didn't ask for me," he said finally. "They asked for her." Outside, the gate creaked shut, and the house fell into a stillness it hadn't known in months. Not the heavy quiet of grief, but something softer, like the peace Maya had left behind. The Hawthorne estate was too quiet the next day, not with the warmth of rest, but with the hollow ache of something unresolved. Edward sat in his study, the untouched scotch beside him reflecting the dim light. Maya's note lay on the desk, its words burning. "If you can't stay for them." He'd read it a dozen times, each one heavier than the last. Upstairs, the twins slept on, unaware that the one person who'd brought them calm was gone. Edward rubbed his temples, the sting of his hand a reminder of his failure. He hadn't meant to hit her. It wasn't who he was, or who he thought he was. But grief had carved him into something sharp, and in a moment of rage, he'd lashed out. He stood, climbing the stairs to the boys' room. The hallway smelled of lavender and clean linen. A small stool sat against the wall, Maya's sketchbook resting on it. He opened it to find simple drawings. 2 boys under a tree, a house with too many windows, a figure between them, arms outstretched like wings. Beneath, a caption, "The one who stays," his breath caught. In the nursery, Eli stirred but didn't wake. No nightmares, no tears. Edward closed the door softly. In the kitchen, Mrs. Keller was folding napkins. She looked up, her expression guarded. "She's gone," Edward said. "I know," Mrs. Keller replied. "I made a mistake." "You don't say." Her tone was neutral, but her eyes were sharp. "She was in your room because the boys wouldn't sleep anywhere else. You weren't here. I heard them beg her to stay." Edward's jaw tightened. "I need to find her. Start with the return address on her letter, Georgia." He nodded, already moving toward the hall. Across town, Maya sat on a bench outside the train station, her cheek still throbbing. She hadn't cried when he struck her, nor when she left the estate. But now, clutching a lukewarm coffee, tears welled. She wiped them away quickly, a habit from years of surviving foster homes, loss, being told she was too soft for hard cases. Yet those boys had reached something in her, a part she thought she'd buried. A woman nearby offered a tissue. Maya smiled faintly, then looked at the sky. Her ticket to Savannah was in her pocket, but she sat back down, unsure. The next morning, Edward stood in the twins' room with a tray of scrambled eggs and toast. It was the first time he'd done this since their mother's death. Eli stirred, rubbing his eyes. "Where's Miss Maya?" Edward hesitated. "She had to leave." "Why?" Ethan's voice was sharp, his eyes narrowing. "She helped us, you saw." Edward knelt beside the bed. "It wasn't your fault, it was mine." "Did you yell at her?" Eli asked. Edward nodded. "Yes." "Did you hit her?" Ethan's voice was low. Another nod. The boys turned away. Edward stayed, kneeling, the tray forgotten. "I'll fix it," he said. "I'll bring her back." They didn't respond, but he knew they heard. Later, Maya boarded a bus to a local shelter where she volunteered. She needed space, a reminder that the world was bigger than one house. She taught a writing class to teen girls, speaking about staying when others leave, about knowing your worth. As she left, a note was tucked into her bike spokes. "They asked for you, both of them." She smiled, the sky streaked with orange. Edward didn't knock. He stepped into the community center as the sun dipped, his polished shoes out of place on the linoleum. Maya was erasing a whiteboard, surrounded by laughing teens. The board read, "Your voice has value, even when it shakes." She looked up, and her laughter faded, her posture stiffening. He approached, hands empty. "I need to talk to you." A girl stepped in front of Maya, protectively. "It's okay," Maya said, leading Edward to the bench outside. He spoke first. "I was wrong. I judged you without listening. I struck you, and I'll regret that forever." "You didn't believe me," she said, her voice tired. "Even after your sons trusted me." "I know," he looked down. "I saw you in my space, and fear spoke louder than truth. It was cruel. You don't get to walk back into my life just because you realized I was telling the truth. I'm here because they asked for you, not a nanny, you." Maya's eyes softened. "How are they?" "Quiet, too quiet." "That's not peace," she said. "That's a wound closing without healing." "I want to fix this," he said. "They need connection, not control." She considered him. "Come back, but I have conditions. No cameras in the boys' rooms. They eat dinner with you, no phones. We rewrite the house rules together, with them." "They're 5, he said. "They're people," she replied. He smiled faintly. "Anything else?" "Yes, if you ever raise your hand again, I'm gone. Permanently." "Understood." He stood. "Do you want a ride?" "I'll take the bus," she said. "I have to finish here. Maya, thank you." "Don't thank me yet," she said. "We're starting over, Mr. Hawthorne." The next morning, Maya returned to the estate, the sky a soft wash of peach and blue. The butler Harold greeted her with a bow. "Miss Williams, welcome back." Eli rounded the staircase first, arms wide, grinning. Ethan followed, clutching a sketchbook with a wobbly drawing of Maya, the boys, and a heart-covered house. "You stayed even when you left," it read. Maya's throat tightened. "That's beautiful, honey." Edward appeared in a sweater and jeans, softer than his usual suits. "Breakfast is ready." "Good," Maya said, "because we have rules to rewrite." In the kitchen, the 4 gathered around a table of eggs, toast, and juice. Maya opened a notebook. "What makes this house a home?" Ethan raised a hand. "Music during bath time?" Maya nodded. "Reasonable." "No broccoli unless it's hidden," Eli added. Edward laughed. "We'll negotiate that." Maya wrote, "Always knock." "No yelling near bedtime." "Hugs must be asked." "For pancakes on Sundays. 1 story each before lights out." She added her own, "Listen first. Apologize when you're wrong." "No cameras." Edward wrote, "Make space for forgiveness, even when it's hard." The rules went on the fridge, held by sun-shaped magnets. Later in the library, Edward found Maya sorting books. "They've changed since you were gone. Or maybe they always could, and no one gave them space," she said. "I've changed too," he admitted. "I believe that," she said. "What you did, staying, leaving, coming back, that's more than I deserved." "Maybe," she said, "but it's what they deserved." That evening, Edward read to the boys, stumbling over the words. They giggled, correcting him, asking for one more page. Maya watched from the doorway, a quiet warmth settling in her chest. 3 weeks later, the house hummed with life. Breakfasts were loud, bath times messy, and the twins bloomed like flowers after a long winter. Edward learned to braid hair, badly, and folded tiny socks. But not all wounds healed quickly. One night, Maya wandered the halls, unable to sleep. The library door was ajar, light spilling out. Edward sat at the desk, a half-empty scotch glass. Beside him, staring at his phone. An email subject line read, "Custody hearing, notice of motion." "Bad news?" Maya asked. He flinched, then turned the screen. "Rebecca's parents filed for guardianship. They say I'm unfit neglect. Emotional instability, a domestic incident." Maya's face darkened. "They know about me. Apparently," he muttered. "They've been waiting to take the boys. Do you want me to testify?" She asked. "I don't know if that helps or makes it worse." "Then we don't fight alone," she said. "We show what family looks like." He nodded. "I'll show up." Maya gathered journal entries, art projects, and photos of the fridge rules. Edward met with his lawyer, focusing on protecting the boys, not his reputation. At lunch, under the backyard oak, Eli asked, "Do we have to live with Grandma and Grandpa?" "No one's taking you anywhere," Maya said firmly. "They're rich," Ethan said. "And they said you're not family." "Family is who stays," Maya replied, cupping Eli's chin. "I'm here, that's family." The courthouse smelled of marble and tension. Maya and Edward sat in muted tones, facing Rebecca's parents. Eleanor and James Hollingsworth. Eleanor's pearls gleamed, her stare icy. James fidgeted with his cane, avoiding Edward's gaze. The judge, Judith Templeton, listened as Edward's lawyer spoke of the family's progress. Highlighting Maya's role, Eleanor took the stand, her voice sharp. "What kind of man hires a stranger to raise his children? A man who struck her in his own home?" Maya didn't flinch. Judge Templeton raised an eyebrow. "Miss Williams isn't on trial, Mrs. Hollingsworth." "She's not family," Eleanor insisted. "She's temporary, untrained." Maya stood. "I don't have a degree, but I know what it's like to feel unsafe. When I arrived, Ethan and Eli didn't trust anyone. They didn't sleep. But I stayed, and they let me in not because I'm special, but because I chose them." The judge nodded. "Thank you, Miss Williams." Later, Templeton ruled, "Mr. Hawthorne has made mistakes, but he's taken steps to heal his family, with Miss Williams' support. There are no grounds to remove custody." Eleanor gasped, but James stopped her protest. Outside, Edward turned to Maya. "You saved them again. You stood up," she said. You stayed. At home, Eli spotted them first. Did we win? We did, Maya said, kneeling. Ethan hugged her. You're not leaving? I'm exactly where I belong. 6 months later, the Hawthorne Williams Center for Healing opened its first location. Maya stood at a whiteboard, mapping schedules, while the twins folded blankets. Edward grinned. No kid follows a color-coded schedule. They won't. No, it's color-coded, Maya shot back. Keeps me sane. A complication arose. Belle, a 16-year-old foster teen, volatile and guarded. Maya took her in. Belle arrived with a duffel bag and blue hair, refusing therapy. In the art room, Maya sat beside her, sketching silently. Why do this? Belle asked. Because someone saw me when I was the kid no one knew what to do with. Maya said. Belle glanced at her. You get one shot. Over days, Belle softened, joining hikes, laughing during card games. On the retreats last night, under lantern lights, she stepped forward. I used to draw birds when things were better. You still can, Maya said. That night, Belle knocked on Maya's door. I don't want to go back to the group home. This place feels real. Then stay, Maya said. We'll make it home. A smear campaign hit, alleging improper staffing. A forged document in Belle's file threatened the center. Maya called an emergency meeting, laying out the evidence. This is their weapon, she said. We disarm it. Edward suggested going public. Maya agreed but insisted. Belle chooses. Belle stood before reporters, unflinching. I'm Belle Harris, 16. I've been called unfixable. But here, someone stayed. I'm a girl who paints birds because I forgot how to fly, and now I'm learning again. Her words shifted the tide. Her bird painting went viral, a symbol of resilience. A letter arrived, unsigned. You saved my daughter when I couldn't. Thank you. Winter brought snow and a new challenge. Maya's father appeared, gaunt and sober, seeking grace. You left when I was 10, she said. You forfeited my life. He handed her a faded photo of her as a child. I kept this. It's all I had. I can't promise forgiveness, she said. But I won't hate you anymore. He nodded, a tear falling. That's everything. Maya didn't tell the boys or Belle. She cooked dinner, read to Ethan, helped Eli with homework, and filed the encounter away, a fragile memory to process later. Spring arrived, and the center's second location opened in Bridgeport. At the state's trauma-informed youth conference, Maya and Belle spoke, sharing their story of resilience. Healing happens in silent moments when someone stays, Maya said. The audience applauded, and Yale proposed partnering for a hall of resilience curriculum. Back home, under the oak tree, Ethan and Eli gave Maya gold-painted rocks. This one's brave, Ethan said. This one stays, Eli added. Maya's throat tightened. Lorraine, now a regular visitor, squeezed Maya's hand. Proud is different than forgiven, but you're here. Edward proposed a new flower bed. Roses, he said. We'll tend them every week. Deal, Maya said, tears in her eyes. That night, Edward proposed, not with a ring, but a promise. Would you marry me? Yes, she said. But only if you know I'm not perfect. Neither am I, he said. But we're better together. Summer marked the center's second anniversary. A banner read, 1 year of staying. Children displayed art drawings, poems, Belle's bird breaking free. Maya guided them, each sharing a reflection. Edward watched, Lorraine beside him. This is what we built, Maya said. A sanctuary of truth. The twins raced ahead, chasing butterflies. Maya and Edward shared a look. Are the storms over? He asked. I don't know, she said. But we've built something they can't wash away. They kissed softly, the rose and sapling intertwined in the garden, a promise kept. The table was full that night. Staff, children, volunteers. Lorraine toasted to roots and wings. Maya leaned into Edward, the twins' laughter filling the air. Outside, fireflies danced, and inside, the fort glowed with lamplight. Healing wasn't final, it was persistent, imperfect, and bright, like gold filling the cracks of a broken world.